This gameplay video is brought to you by Brandon Drennan. A massive thank you, Brandon. Thalisse Reverent Medium versus Krark the Thumbless. And we've got mana there, so I think we're okay to keep that one. And then we draw into a Smothering Tithe, which we'll be able to get down on turn 3, so let's go for a tap land with the Windswept Teeth into Godless Shrine. Runaway Steamkin for our opponent. And Toxic Deluge is good to sit back on. We'll get down the eedi-H anyway, because we could always tutor for Skull Clamp at some point if needs be. Quest for Pure Flame. Remove 4 from it. If a source would deal damage to a permanent or player this turn, it deals double instead. We will take the 4 damage, yes we will, to Vexing Devil. Don't want to be dealing with a 4-3, although maybe we should with a snake in play, but if they've got burn, I want them to use it on our creatures, especially before we go for a Toxic Deluge. So with that, we'll go for the Smothering Tithe. And then it is Krark the Thumbless from our opponent. Then removing the plus counters from the Runaway Steamkin to go for Seething Song. And they get a copy of that with their commander, immediately putting a plus counter on the Steamkin. They have 10 mana available to them here. It's a Magus of the Wheel. Might have to go for Toxic Deluge next turn because they're looking to empty their hand here, I dare say. Jeska's Will, that's a new one from the Commander Legends set, that's a good one. So now at 4 mana. Oh, and it got bounced to their hand originally, so they had to cast it again, but they did get a copy of it the second time round, so exiling an Expedition map. Gauntlet of Might is a really good one, some lands. The Karn, Faithless Looting. Going for the mana doubler as you would expect, as well as the Planeswalker. They can do pretty much everything here, I think. Expedition map. And finally the Faithless Looting, which gets bounced back to their hand, so going for it again. And then having to go for it again. Getting bounced back to their hand 3 times in a row. And 4 times in a row, so that's pretty unlucky, but luckily it only costs 1 mana a pop. Okay, Phyrexian Tower for us. I think maybe we go Phyrexian Tower. So let's go Phyrexian Tower here. I think we'll swing in with both things. They might just let them through. They'll certainly let the Death Toucher through, I think. Yeah, let's go through to Karn. Try and lay some damage there. Okay, blocking with the Steamkin to get rid of the eedi-H, so we'll get 1 damage onto the Karn. Sacrifice the snake to the Phyrexian Tower and we'll go for Toxic Deluge. And I don't think they can cast any spells, so we'll just go for 5 life here. I think the damage might already be done from the red player though. Hopefully they can't refill their hand too well. Cracking the Expedition map with the mana from the Steamkin and grabbing themselves a snow-covered mountain with the Expedition map, which obviously taps for double mana with the Gauntlet of Might. And then we'll go for Demonic Tutor. I don't think we've got Disenchantment in here. That would be really good if we did. We could hurt our opponent here. But I think we've just got Anguished Unmaking. Maybe Generous Gift is in here as well. No, we don't have Generous Gift either. So I think at this point we just tutor for Skull Clamp. And let's play the Hanweir Militia Captain. Nowhere near flipping that around, unfortunately. But hopefully we can get our commander down in another turn or 2. Calm revealing the top 2 cards. There's a Deflecting Swat and a Lithoform Engine. We'll give them the Deflecting Swat, I think. Then going for Collective Defiance. And back into their commander again. There is Anguished Unmaking. So let's drop a Plains. Yeah, Deflecting Swat is for free. You can choose new targets for a spell or ability that targets a permanent you control, so I think our opponent has successfully slowed us down here. So let's just go for our commander, and we'll go for a Raise the Alarm as well. And hopefully that will help us to deal with the Khan. Get some spirits at the end of the turn. If our commander sticks around, I think it's... well, X is the number of tokens you created this turn, so that does include the treasure tokens from Smothering Tithe, so we should get a spirit at the end of the turn, assuming our Thalisse sticks around. Now going for that Faithless Looting again, and again it gets bounced to their hand for the 5th time. And this time they get to double it up, which means we get a bunch of Smothering Tithe counters, or tokens even. So we've got potential for getting a lot of spirits here. With the first one, they discarded Browbeat, Mizzix's Mastery, and that's good, getting rid of the Deflecting Swat. And then obviously Faithless Looting went in, got rid of Char as well. So I imagine they've got some kind of sweeper or some kind of burn that can go on our stuff here if they're discarding that type of thing. Goblin Engineer now. And it is Krark's Thumb. And there's Lithoform Engine, so... yeah, I think we have to get rid of Lithoform Engine and we can hopefully swing in at Khan. We are going to get these spirits, so we jump up to 7. And there is an Eedi-H Norn. We might be able to just get them here. So let's go for the Eedi-H Norn, see if our opponent's got anything in response to that. Alright, so we managed to land that. That is 21 in the air. And then we get another 3 through. So that's not enough to take them out, so we have to take out the Khan here, I think. Yeah, let's swing in. Couple going in at Khan. And then everything else going in at our opponent. Yeah, 6 going in at Khan. And we do have the Anguished Unmaking after this, as well as the Skull Clamp. And they go for a Lightning Bolt straight onto us. Trying to double that up, because they're probably going to block here, but that gets bounced back to their hand. It's good to know that they've got a Lightning Bolt in hand. So that plummets them down to 4. So do we just go for Skull Clamp here and sacrifice something for Anguished Unmaking and draw a couple of cards? Yeah, I think we can do that. So we'll clamp a Soldier token. Sacrifice it with the Phyrexian Tower. Gets us into Viscerous Seer. And a Vamp Tutor. So we'll put a stop on the upkeep because we're not going to use that. Do they have something with Lithoform Engine? Yeah, I think we have to get rid of Lithoform Engine here. Especially with that Lightning Bolt in hand. Gonna lose 3 life to the Anguished Unmaking though. So we'll just have to hope that they don't get into a bunch of burn off the top. Yeah, they've got some burn alright, so that is Fiery Confluence. They've probably got us here. Just getting a hell of a lot of value there with Jeska's Will off the top. Yeah, if you didn't realise how good a card this was and how excited people were for it, that is a very good one. Yeah, they got pretty much everything they needed off the top there, but it's very capably played by Krark. That was a fun deck to play against. I think it was quite a fast one as well, so let's try another one. Thalisse Reverent Medium, this time versus Maelstrom Wanderer. And that's not an incredible hand, but it's not bad. We've got mana at least. Oh, we've actually got Urborg and Cabal Coffers. So mana is pretty much all we've got here. So let's just start things off with an Urborg and pass the turn. Okay, Forest from our opponent. Tainted Field will be switched on thanks to the Urborg. So we'll use that to go in for the Talisman of Hierarchy. And then it's just an island from our opponent. We need 4 lands to make Cabal Coffers worth it. So let's just go Vault of the Archangel and Hamweir Militia Captain. A Harrow from Maelstrom Wanderer. Luckily that's the first piece of ramp we've seen so far. Okay, Vamp Tutor, not sure what we'd go for with Vamp Tutor to be honest. I mean a token producer would be useful. Let's drop the Cabal Coffers, which gives us 4 black mana. And we'll dump our commander into play. Then swing in with the Hamweir Militia Captain. Maybe go for Elspeth if we keep our commander in play here. Because then we'll start getting a bunch of spirits as well, and then we can think about dropping Divine Visitation. Now a Cultivate, so the ramp continuing over there. So just a couple of lands away from the Maelstrom Wanderer at this point. Let's see if they can counter the Vampiric Tutor. You don't tend to see a lot of counter spells in Maelstrom Wanderer for obvious reasons. You don't want to cascade into counter magic. There are some modal counter spells you can use to choose the draw effect off of the cascade. But like I said, people don't tend to run that. Let's go Elspeth Sun's Champion. Drop a Marsh Flats. And we'll go for some white mana with that, because not a lot of our lands can produce white. Make 5 black mana with the Cabal Coffers, and that allows us to get into Elspeth, which we can plus immediately. And that will flip the Hamweir Militia Captain as well. But before it flips, we'll swing in with both it and our commander, deal 5 to our opponent. And if we can leave this board state intact, the Divine Visitation is going to be very, very good next turn. Getting some flying blockers into play with our commander. A Scoot Swarm, so maybe a Lands Matter variant, or maybe it's just most of their ramp is based on landfall. So deciding to include a Scoot Swarm. And then it's Pier's Whim, which will probably force us to sacrifice the Talisman. Not really bothered about that. Not with Cabal Coffers and Urborg in play. But they get a Field of the Dead as well. So these Angels are going to be relevant. So the Hamweir Militia Captain flips over during our upkeep. And during the end step we'll get a 1/1 black Human Cleric token. It's an 8/8 at the moment with its power equal to the number of creatures we control. Let's drop the Prismatic Vista and the Divine Visitation. Then plus on Elspeth, this will make some Angels. And then we'll get even more Angels at the end of the turn. So let's just swing in with an 11/11 and some Spirits. And we can offer up the trade with some Soldiers as well. Obviously trying to go wide in this deck. Blocking the 11/11 with a Zombie, valuing the Scoot Swarm over anything else for obvious reasons, knocking them down to 17. And then we'll put Thalisse on the stack first so that it sees the Westvale Cult Leader trigger. And the Westvale Cult Leader obviously makes us an Angel. Then even more Angels coming into play. Divine Visitation is absolutely relevant this game. Should get them next turn, minus a board wipe. Wouldn't have thought their commander would help them in this scenario, ironically. Not often you can say that about Maelstrom Wanderer. But going for it anyway. That is a Green Warden of Marassa, just fishes out a card from the bin. Might just go for a land here. No, they go for the Pier's Whim. They're going to need 4 mana to go for that. Which I don't think they'll be able to get off the Maelstrom Wanderer. Nope, they get a Farhaven Elf, which brings in a tap land. Makes another Scoot Swarm though. But I think we've got our opponent here thanks to the Evasive Angels. And the Farhaven Elf obviously triggers Field of the Dead and Scoot Swarm. We've got Field of the Dead in this deck, and I have mixed the basics up with basic lands and the snow-covered lands as well, as has our opponent. Then playing another land, which triggers a bunch of stuff again. So yeah, if we didn't have pretty much the perfect hand and perfect draws there, our opponent might have had us here off the back of a Scoot Swarm. All this stuff does have haste, but I don't think they'll be able to get it through to us. They're going to try their luck though. So let's block. Yeah, we'll just block the biggest stuff we can. Yeah, so we'll just go like that. And I think, yeah, we can go Swords to Plowshares if we crack the Prismatic Vista. Could have done that before the attacks, but I wasn't really worried about losing this turn. Probably should have done that though. Go for the Plains. Let's go for Swords so that we don't take any damage. From the Maelstrom Wanderer, that is. Green Warden of Marassa goes down, so they'll get to exile that and put something into hand if they want. I don't know if they can actually play a land if they go for that. Yeah, our opponent works it out that they can't win from here. We would have drawn into Godless Shrine, so that wouldn't really have helped us. So yeah, really working off the back of that opening hand, to be honest. Going in for the Elspeth Sun's Champion allowed us to outpace our opponent with the Divine Visitation. So all we do is get all the Angels into the red zone, and I think I worked it out as something like 32 damage next turn, excluding the Spirit tokens. Hope you enjoyed this brief visit to Thalisse. Be sure to leave it a like, comment and subscribe if you did. I'm tribalkai, on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.